up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up, it's conversation. Kings the nation, nation, yeah. Get up, real talk, no imitation. Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up, it's conversation. Kings the nation, nation, yeah. Get up. Real talk, no imitation. Let's have a conversation. Right now, not later. Truth over rumors, love over haters. We sitting on the throne, royal in the scene. Crowns on our mics, we the conversation kings. Faith in the flow, and purpose in the plan. Bridging every gap from the streets to the stand. We speaking to the hearts, reaching for the dreams. Ain't no middle ground, we standing with the team. Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up, it's conversation. Kings the nation, nation, yeah. Get up, real talk, no imitation. Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up, it's conversation. Kings the nation, yeah. Get up, real talk, no imitation. Talk faith, talk life, talk unity and vision. Talk pain, talk change, talk real decisions. From the block to the boardroom, same mission. Every word heavy, call it verbal nutrition. Kings don't gossip, now we building foundation. Sowing true seeds across generations. Lifting up voices, the time try to mute. We bringing back purpose and replanting roots, yeah. Hands up if you ready for the shift, yeah. Mindset elevated is the gift, yeah. No cap, just facts, we don't play pretend. We talking true from beginning to end. Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up, it's conversation. Kings the nation, nation, yeah. Get up, real talk, no imitation. Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up, it's conversation. Kings the nation, nation, yeah. Get up, real talk, no imitation.
So when the mic's on, the truth rings. This is real talk from Conversation Kings. Faith, life, and everything between. Let's get up and have a conversation.
Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up, it's conversation. Kings the nation, nation, yeah. Get up, real talk, no imitation. Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up, it's conversation. Kings the nation, nation, yeah. Get up, real talk, no imitation. Let's have a conversation. Right now, not later. Truth over rumors, love over haters. We sitting on the throne, royal in the scene. Crowns on our mics, we the conversation kings. Faith in the flow, and purpose in the plan. Bridging every gap from the streets to the stand. We speaking to the hearts, reaching for the dreams. Ain't no middle ground, we standing with the team. Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up, it's conversation. Kings the nation, nation, yeah. Get up, real talk, no imitation. Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up, it's conversation. Kings the nation, yeah. Get up, real talk, no imitation. Talk faith, talk life, talk unity and vision. Talk pain, talk change, talk real decisions. From the block to the boardroom, same mission. Every word heavy, call it verbal nutrition. Kings don't gossip, now we building foundation. Sowing true seeds across generations. Lifting up voices, the time try to mute. We bringing back purpose and replanting roots, yeah. Hands up if you ready for the shift, yeah. Mindset elevated is the gift, yeah. No cap, just facts, we don't play pretend. We talking true from beginning to end. Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up, it's conversation. Kings the nation, nation, yeah. Get up, real talk, no imitation. Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up, it's conversation. Kings the nation, nation, yeah. Get up, real talk, no imitation.
So when the mic's on, the truth rings. This is real talk from Conversation Kings. Faith, life, and everything between. Let's get up and have a conversation.
Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up, it's conversation. Kings, the nation. Nation, yeah, get up. Real talk, no imitation. Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up, it's conversation. Kings, the nation. Nation, yeah, get up. Real talk, no imitation. Let's have a conversation. Right now, not later. Truth over rumors, love over haters. We sitting on the throne, royal in the scene. Crowns on the mics, we the conversation kings. Faith in the flow, and purpose in the plan. Bridging every gap from the streets to the stand. We speaking to the hearts, reaching for the dreams. Ain't no middle ground, we standing with the team. Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up, it's conversation. Kings, the nation. Nation, yeah, get up. Real talk, no imitation. Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up, it's conversation. Kings, the nation. Yeah, get up. Real talk, no imitation. Talk faith, talk life, talk unity and vision. Talk pain, talk change, talk real decisions. From the block to the boardroom, same mission. Every word heavy, call it verbal nutrition. Kings don't gossip, now we building foundation. Sowing true seeds across generations. Lifting up voices, the time try to mute. We bringing back purpose and replanting roots, yeah. Hands up if you ready for the shift, yeah. Mindset elevated is the gift, yeah. No cap, just facts, we don't play pretend. We talking truth from beginning to end. Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up's conversation. Kings, the nation, nation, yeah, get up. Real talk, no imitation. Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up's conversation. Kings, the nation, nation, yeah, get up. Real talk, no imitation.
So when the mic's on, the truth rings. This is real talk from Conversation Kings. Faith, life, and everything between. Let's get up and have a conversation.
Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up, it's conversation. Kings, the nation. Nation, yeah, get up. Real talk, no imitation. Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up, it's conversation. Kings, the nation. Nation, yeah, get up. Real talk, no imitation. Let's have a conversation. Right now, not later. Truth over rumors, love over haters. We sitting on the throne, royal in the scene. Crowns on the mics, we the conversation kings. Faith in the flow, and purpose in the plan. Bridging every gap from the streets to the stand. We speaking to the hearts, reaching for the dreams. Ain't no middle ground, we standing with the team. Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up, it's conversation. Kings, the nation, nation, yeah, get up. Real talk, no imitation. Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up, it's conversation. Kings, the nation, yeah, get up. Real talk, no imitation. Talk faith, talk life, talk unity and vision. Talk pain, talk change, talk real decisions. From the block to the boardroom, same mission. Every word heavy, call it verbal nutrition. Kings don't gossip, now we building foundation. Sowing true seeds across generations. Lifting up voices, the time try to mute. We bringing back purpose and replanting roots, yeah.
All right, good evening. Listen, I just want to say welcome to Conversation Kings. This is the podcast, the blogcast where truth meets transparency, meets accountability. That's what you get here at Conversation Kings. I am the host, your progenitor, your CEO of the Marcus Spears. And today we are going to tackle a hard but necessary topic. We're talking about failing ministry, failing leadership, church power grabs,
So when the
broken
mic's on, the
trust,
truth rings.
and what does it
This is
all
real talk from
mean to the
Conversation
people of
Kings.
God? Like if
Faith,
you're
life,
tuning in
and
tonight,
everything between.
whether you're looking at us on Facebook or whether you're
Let's get
looking at
up
us on YouTube, or if you're
and have a
listening to us on
conversation.
Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast, your vlogcast, I want to thank you so much for being here. Make sure you like, you share, you subscribe, drop a comment in the comment box. Let's get into it. I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up, it's Conversation Kings.
Maybe he was going off of the succession letter is what Bishop wanted. That's probably what made him made that statement. But we know now that it was
extremely important.
Yeah, just the direction that we're going in. You know, we're in an ever changing world. We talk about we're in an ever changing world. So it's a lot of things that we used to do. Just
mental capacity tests.
A mental evaluation. That's right. So many different things.
They had to be fully and completely vetted to make sure that they could handle the business of that church.
Along with several other things, it's disheartening. Just to even see our brothers and sisters on the other side, just being bamboozled.
Yeah.
Being bamboozled by these.
Organizational context is it's in black and white. If you want a copy of these bylaws, if you drop your email, I can send you them because they're clear. They're logged at the state. This is public information.
And I called you. Yeah, after Bishop's death, I said, "Hey, bro, this is the same guy that was, talking all this noise and stuff and saying all this, this ill intent, this very malicious and degrading things about
the nasty stuff."
Right.
Another podcast post from Conversation Kings. This is literally a cry from the heart of a ministry, New Life Church of Orlando, because we have been wounded. We have been seriously maligned. All right, listen. What's up, everybody? What's up? Again, welcome to another edition of Conversation Kings. Listen, y'all, that's Lion's Tan Beard, moisturizing mist. A bottle of it sitting behind me fell. So make sure that I, put this stuff out the way because it is expensive and it works. It works. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Listen, all right. So what are we talking about? Because I told you we were going to get right into it. What are we talking about? You've seen the headlines and you've seen the viral video clips. Everybody has, or those of you who keep up with what's going on in the church world, you understand right now at this point that you are seeing churches that are changing hands. We are looking at leaders that are asking for these big, huge offerings and congregations feeling bypassed and somewhat betrayed, right? So tonight, I wanted to say, just talk to you from a place of learning, talk to you from a place of understanding. All right. It's not just about money. It's about trust. It's about integrity. It's about the very soul of the ministry. So tonight in this episode, we are going to ask, where did we go from shepherding to seizing assets? Where did we go? Where did we go from shepherding souls to seizing assets, right? And it's not going to be what you think it is. I'm going to talk about some things and I'm going to clarify a lot of stuff as well. So we'll look at what happens when leadership fails, what it does to morale, what it does to spiritual health, and to the community where the church is, or the community at large, which would be the whole entire Christendom. We'll define a lot of personalities tonight, and we're going to define the personalities of those who ignore what they see, and those who challenge the system. Wherever you find yourself, understand that this is not a knock against you. It's just something that I am digging into and diving into so that we as a people can get some understanding and get some knowledge and get some, again, understanding, because that's what the word says: get understanding, not an understanding, get understanding. In all thy getting, get understanding. So this conversation tonight is about getting understanding. My people perish for lack of knowledge, right? And yes, we are going to talk about the incident with Bishop Marvin Winans, and the one everyone's buzzing about. It's all over the social media. It's a topic everywhere. It has even reached over into the Breakfast Club, which is a show, a podcast that I actually watch. I have been watching for years, and even though I'm saved, I still continue to watch the podcast because the Breakfast Club keeps up with what's going on within the community, and it also keeps up with social topics. So this is something that everyone is buzzing about, and I'm going to give you my take on that. So let's dive right into tonight and talk about what I consider is the church under siege. And I guarantee you that this is not going to be something that we're going to hang on to all night long. We are going to dive into it, and we're going to take your questions and your answers. And hey, thank you, Antoinette. Antoinette said that she got hers, and it's amazing. It works. Ladies and gentlemen, the my Lion's Tame Beard Moisturizer Mist. Remember that this is hair. It's like the hair on your head. Now, it's hair. It's hair. And the mist works for not only beards, but it maintains the strength of the hair. It locks in moisture. It absolutely works 100%. And I also have the butter, which I recommend for brothers who live in regions where it is colder. The butter is going to work for you currently in this season, and going throughout the entire winter. So you got to get at me so you can get some. You got to get at me so you can get some. Donna Marie Mangini Coates, what is going on, girl? I gotta holler at you. I gotta holler at you. Where have you been? Where have you been? All right. So let's start here. Let me jump into this because I'm seeing people come in that I haven't talked to in a minute. Love you, Antoinette. Love you, Donna. Check this out. Let's start here. Let's talk about the context, right? There are a lot of congregations that are built on hard work. All right, perfect. Many congregations are built on hard work. That is pretty much everywhere. Now, it comes with, when a congregation is built, it's because there's a lot of hard work, there's a lot of faithful giving, there's a lot of loyal service. Loyal services are actually suddenly finding themselves in the middle of something they didn't sign up for. We're looking at what's going on with the House of God, Keith's Dominion, for example. We're looking at, they are facing asset sales, trust clauses, and power grabs, just like we are at New Life Church of Orlando. And if you were tuned in last week, where I had on Elder Moses Tyson, it was a powerful conversation that he and I had, and he broke down some things that I think are very important, not just for the Church of God in Christ, but for any ministry that is affiliated and or associated with a major denomination. So, for example, the concept of the trust clause, basically, the trust clause, if you have the trust clause or any language, it is a clause in denominational bylaws. If you have that in your bylaws that you have submitted to the state that you live in, a clause in denominational bylaws that essentially says that the property belongs to the denomination or the governing body, not the local congregation. So it doesn't matter how many years you have labored and toiled and put your money into it. According to the trust clause, if you take it to court, it does bind you to that denomination if you use the words. And you may be able to fight it in court, but it's going to be extremely hard to win. So what this means is the local church might feel like home. Okay, listen to me clearly. The local church may feel like home, but in all actuality, the deed says something totally different. Now, if your deed does not have trust clause language in it, you are in all intents and purposes safe, especially without full transparency, right? Leaders can redirect, they can sell, they can reassign the property. And when the leadership chooses to exercise that clause aggressively, especially without full transparency, what you have is not just mismanagement, it's betrayal. It is absolutely betrayal. And I've seen that happen, especially with what's going on with House of God, Keith Dominion. That's happening now, especially down in South Florida. A lot of those people, there are clips of it on the news where their churches are being sold right from under them, right from under them. All right. So it's literally it's church takeover by another name, right? So you're going to ask, how common is this? Well, I don't have the exact national data on that. Church sold under parishioners' feet. I don't have the exact data on that. I can tell you, as we see an uptick in stories of congregational shock, you are seeing that it is happening over and over again. And when you add mismanagement to the funds to the mix, that also accounts in with a lack of accountability as poor financial practices. It just compounds the damage that people are feeling all over. And from a biblical leadership standpoint, leaders are called to serve. They are called to serve. They're called to feed the sheep. They are not called to feed the bottom line. But what we're watching now is an inversion. The flock becomes the asset and not the mission. Let me say that again. The flock is now the asset and not the mission. All right. So the question, how did we move from servant leadership to asset management? This is for you pastors. How did we move from servant leadership to asset management? All right. So I'm going to say that one of our high profile cases, Marvin Winans, I want to bring that in, right? At this point, I'm basically just going to show a short clip of the viral moment from the Breakfast Club's coverage of Marvin Winans' offering pledge incident. I do want to just say right here that I do not own the rights to this video. This is totally under the guise of the Breakfast Club and the radio station and all those things, all right? Take a breath. Let's watch this because I have my take after we watch this. I do have my point of view and my explanation as to what's going on regarding this right now. Okay.
Has had to come out in defense of a bishop named Marvin Winans. I'm saying the last name wrong.
Is it Winans?
Yes,
Marvin Winans.
Yes, Marvin Winans, he is in relation to CCBB, the whole big gospel family. Yes,
you know Marvin Winans.
Yes. I thought you was talking about Marlon Wayans.
Once I say it wrong, it sticks in my mind wrong. So then you have to say it right to me for me to be able to say it right. But thank you. Mm-hmm. All right, so
Riri.
Oh my God!
I was about to say
it's all right.
I was about to say something, but we talking about God this hour.
Talking about the gospel.
Let the Lord rebuke thee. Okay, so he is in trouble or was in trouble, and Fred Hammond had to come out and defend him because there was a video that went viral from a giving service that they had last Sunday. So he serves at a church called Perfecting Church in Detroit, and they had its annual giving day, and he was asking.
Okay, what's going on with you? What's going on with my playback? What's happening?
No, once I say it wrong, it's
all right, so I'm going up.
Winans. I'm saying the last name wrong.
Is it Winans?
Yes,
Marvin Winans.
Yes, Marvin Winans, he is in relation to CCBB, the whole big gospel family. Yes,
you know Marvin Winans.
Yes. I thought you was talking about Marlon Wayans.
Once I say it wrong, it sticks in my mind wrong. So then you have to say it right to me for me to be able to say it right. But thank you. Mm-hmm. All right, so
Riri.
Oh my God!
I was about to say here,
it's all right.
I was about to say something, but we talking about God this hour.
Talking about the gospel.
Let the Lord rebuke thee. Okay, so he is in trouble or was in trouble, and Fred Hammond had to come out and defend him because there was a video that went viral from a giving service that they had last Sunday. So he serves at a church called Perfecting Church in Detroit, and they had its annual giving day, and he was asking people of the church community to donate $1,000 toward the rebuilding and the continued structuring of the church.
$1,000 at a time like this,
and to additionally, get other money donated from other, people outside of the church. So let's take a listen to what went viral because he was under fire for people thinking that he rebuked a woman who didn't come with a certain amount of money. Let's take a listen.
I, Roberta McCoy, giving faith and stand in unity with the vision of Perfecting Church of sowing this seed of $1,000 plus $235 and receiving the blessings to come to all that participated.
Now that's only $1,200.
Yes.
Y'all not listening to what I'm saying. If you have 1,000 plus 1,000.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna work on the other 800.
Well, that ain't what I asked you to do.
So Fred Hammond is like,
that sounded crazy.
Yeah,
definitely did.
So
it
listen,
sounds crazy. Yeah.
It does sound crazy when you hear it just cut up like that, and it went viral that way. But if you go back and listen to the full church service and the instruction, what was happening is he had people line up in a certain order. What he's telling her, not that her money isn't good enough, is that she came in the wrong order, and there were so many people that lined up. He was trying to keep it structured. So let's take a listen to his original instruction.
We're going to do this a couple of ways. Those that have the 1,000 plus 1, that means you're coming with your 1,000 that you're giving, plus you've asked someone else to give. Now, you don't have to stop at 1,000, and we're going to deal. So, in other words, if you say, Pastor Winans, I'm coming with my 1,000 plus another 3,000, then you'll say that. You understand? And if you didn't get plus 1, but you maybe came with $250, you're going to come say that this is my 1,000 plus 250. You with me? And we're going to go all the way down. So I need you, in order for this to work, I need you to come when you're called with the offering that you're bringing.
You still confused?
Yeah. I disagree with all of it.
She did it wrong, but it still sounds nasty and disgusting.
I don't think you should put a number on it. Just let people donate. Let people know what it is that you need, right? He said he needs something for the church.
Well,
and then people donate whatever it is they can donate. I don't think he should put a number on it or line people up and say people with 1,000 go here and people with this go here.
That's what it seemed like, yeah.
Just let people donate.
I guess he's going to look at it that I was trying to shout them out for giving that money, but like Charlamagne said, it shouldn't matter. It should matter what you giving. If all I have is $700 to give, and I give $700, and that's my last, you should be grateful.
Well, he said so. Fred Hammond, when he came out and defended this, he said organizations and churches raise money for their own all the time. Let them do what they do, basically. And that this was taken out of context. But Miss Roberta McCoy, who was the woman that you guys heard in the clip, and Pastor Winans cleared this up with a local news affiliate because she was getting threats and he was getting dragged. Let's take a listen.
Why would she get threats?
You're the woman in that viral video. Right. He did not rebuke you.
He absolutely did not rebuke me. Now, there's a difference. There was a correction because let me clearly state that Pastor gave instruction on the lines to get into.
I was calling because the whole church was giving, and it was our day of giving, and the whole church was coming, and we didn't want people standing, the mothers and all that, so I was calling them by increments. And we had someone that had given out of before, and I corrected it, and I told everybody to listen and come when you call, and that's all that was.
What happened to passing the plate around?
Nah, niggas been stopped doing that because people take it out.
Sometimes they pass it, but this is like a special day of giving.
What about ushers? Like, you know what I mean? Because the reality is you shouldn't make nobody line up because you know it's a lot of old people there. If you need the money, you should have people going around collecting the money from folks.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to churches where that has happened, you know, and like he said, to his defense, churches have a certain way that they do go back and they ask. Like, I've been to churches that I belong to a church where they will come and ask you for whatever they need. Everybody sow $100 a day. And then when they tally it up. If it ain't enough, we're gonna ask y'all to go back.
I don't agree with that.
And go,
I've
never agreed with it, but churches do that. Man, I can't speak for white churches because I've never been to one. But they're a little boring. But the black churches, they do that. They will go back if they feel like not enough was raised.
Crazy.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah,
that's crazy. You can't put a number on somebody's offering. You know what I mean?
What somebody got.
What somebody got. And you're putting pressure on them because some of these people will spend their last little bit of money, sowing a seed in the church. Like, just tell me, hey, the church needs something.
Yes.
And whoever wants to offer. If you got it to offer it. If you got it to donate it. If not, keep it moving.
But that's why I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily go to church, and they rather watch church on television, or they rather stream it because they don't have to deal with that. They can give what they want to give, how they want to give, and don't have to feel embarrassed if they are short a little bit or if they got in the wrong line.
And if not, I'm gonna use that excuse anyway. See, this is why I don't go to church now.
No, stop.
Okay,
that's probably
every time I
just
walk
did.
up in there, they asking for a couple $1,000s. That just in any context, it just sounds nasty.
I get it. Well, speaking of taking you to church, as we close out, I told y'all that the verses is going down.
All right, so let me kind of break this down in a worldview. All right, what the world sees when watching this basically is a display of power, and there are some people in the church who also view this as a display of power. And the reason they view it as a display of power is because there's a question asked. There's the ask, there's the public pressure combined to shift the relationship from we're in this together to you must respond or be shamed. That's what the world is seeing, right? They also see things like this as a betrayal of trust. When a leader uses the podium to quote unquote shame rather than shepherd, the very foundation of ministry is shaken. Right now, other people are saying, and this is what I found is that a lot of people pounced on this particular thing, and I'm going to address that as a warning signal. This isn't just one isolated moment. Okay, so this reflects a system where the relationship between the giver and the leader is unbalanced, right? And the spiritual well-being of the congregation can be compromised. Now, I give my tithe, I give offering. So for the people in that room and the people that are watching, a lot of people that are watching these sound bites and clips are left asking, is this the ministry that I should be going to? Because they may have been watching him on television, they may have seen different things, or they feel like I'm at risk if I go here. And that leads us into what often gets overlooked, the people. Now, here is my personal opinion. All right. This is my personal opinion on this whole entire thing. It's wise in this space where we are right now with social media and all these things is to get full context. Why? The algorithm and social media feed versus full context. The algorithm is actually purposed to influence our thoughts. That's why they do it. We as a society, we feed off of what we hear and what we see. In today's society where social media is the go-to for everything. You wake up in the morning. I know someone personally, her phone is like an additional appendage to her body. You can't even have a conversation with her and she does not pay attention. She stays in her phone personally. So I want to say that we as a society, we feed off of what we hear and what we see. We feed off of clips, we feed off of sound bites, and those things do not provide the full context, right? Since we live in the algorithm, it's easy to manipulate and direct our thoughts, our opinions, and sometimes our actions. We heard this. The woman was receiving threats, and I could be wrong, but those threats were probably people who called themselves saints. because even though secular people know who Bishop Marvin Winans is, I'm pretty much leaning to the side that they are not so gung-ho about him that they're going to make threats to someone who is a church member. Just to reiterate, these are my opinions, not the ops of anyone else. Okay, so technology can be good and it can be bad, but I have some advice to pastors. It comes from Matthew 10, verse 16, right? It says, "Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves." And at this point, we understand and we know that Jesus is speaking here and giving specific instruction to the 12. He sends them out to minister. And that lady's name was Sister McCoy, or is Sister McCoy. In simple words, what he is saying is use wisdom. Don't be gullible. Think before you speak. Know your surroundings. Be street smart, but not street hearted. Doves in the scripture represent peace, they represent purity, they represent innocence. And Jesus wants his followers to avoid being aggressive, violent, or hateful, even when others treat us badly. Now, I struggle in that area with the aggressive part. Like if someone challenges me, I feel like I have to challenge back, you know. So, in simple words, the Lord is saying, just stay kind. Don't become cruel like the people around you. Don't let the evil in others infect your heart. And ministries should consider this very strongly, not going live during the offering, because there's already growing public distrust towards church finances. That's the number one thing. A lot of people that are, especially the unchurched, right? The unchurched viewers or hurt former members are increasingly critical or suspicious of how churches handle money. Right. So public live streamed offerings, especially those with aggressive asks or drives, can easily be misinterpreted. They can be taken out of context, and that fuels negative narratives like all churches want is money. And this is a money-making scheme. And why are they asking for money while people are struggling? Even biblical reasonable appeal for giving can come across as manipulative if clipped and shared on TikTok or Twitter without context. That is why I had to watch the entire video instead of just making an assumption off of a soundbite and off of a clip, because viral moments can backfire. We've seen several viral incidents, just like the one with Bishop Marvin Winans. It was the pledge moment, right? Where the church offering segments became the center of ridicule and backlash. And it's a brief moment that was taken completely out of context, and it became a nationwide meme or a talking point for people, because that's what they are doing. They are ripping him to shreds. I understand that Bishop Marvin Winans is staunch and he does not bite his tongue. So my advice again, if your church goes live during offering, you're going to lose some control of how that moment is perceived, because people that are watching online may not know your church culture. They don't know your church's teaching or financial transparency, and they may judge you based on assumptions. Just like people based what they saw, they made an assumption. Viewers online aren't always spiritually aligned with what's going on inside the sanctuary. Okay, so in-house members are spiritually connected to the vision and the calling of the ministry. They understand biblical giving and they are invested. But live stream viewers may be non-believers. They may be critics waiting to pounce. There's always somebody there looking for a viral moment. They may be former members with church hurt, or they may simply be casual scrollers with no spiritual understanding of offering or tithing. Live streaming does offer moments that, what I should say, live stream offering moments rather, can open the door to mockery. It can open the door to distraction, division, especially in the comment sections. They ate the man up. So much to the point where he and the sister had to go and do another video just to back up the fact that that's not what happened. So let's protect the sacredness of giving. This is important. Pastors, this is just for you pastors, and so that you understand how to move and operate in giving. Offering is a spiritual moment. It is not a performance. It is not a sales pitch. It is truly an act of worship. By pausing or muting the live stream during the offering, what's going to happen is you are going to preserve the sanctity of the moment. You're going to be able to focus on ministering to those who are physically present, and you're going to avoid creating a spectacle of something that is so sacred. Once you have spoken to the people in the sanctuary, then you open up the live again for them to give by ways of online giving. There are alternate digital giving options that are already in place, and a lot of churches already encourage online giving through apps. We use QR codes, we do text to give options, and these platforms can be shared in a non-intrusive, non-performative way during the broadcast, such as we do that. We now invite our online family to worship through giving. You can give via the link on the screen. You can scan the QR code. Our Cash App is this. This approach is going to acknowledge the online audience without putting the entire offering moment on display. That's what it does. And so then, when that happens, people are not able to scrutinize or ridicule. So the best practice recommendation, so that you don't have a moment that is misinterpreted like it was with Bishop Marvin Winans, cut or mute the live stream during the offering, and instead just display a static giving screen with a peaceful background, some soft music, some donation instructions. Keep it up there for about 2 to 3 minutes while the person that is speaking the offering is being collected. Okay, and then you can resume the live service after the offering transitions back to worship or the announcements, right? That's how you do that. Because what happened with Bishop Marvin Winans, in my opinion, was totally taken out of context and taken out of control. All right. Now, let me go back to what we were talking about, because I just wanted to use that as an example. And for those of you who came in late and did not see it, you can always scroll back after the live is finished, and you can watch the video and you can watch my commentary. All right. So what I'm talking about is when leadership fails. What's going on, Brother Joseph? How you doing, my brother? When leadership fails, it's not just the building that suffers, okay? I want people to understand this clearly. It's the people. The morale drops, the trust is fractured, the identity of the congregation shifts. That's important, y'all. We got to talk about this, because I'm not going to be on here long. I'm actually almost finished. The wounded stay in the pews. There are a lot of wounded people that are sitting in the church. A lot. They're quiet. They don't give. They don't speak up. They suffer privately. There are some, though, that are going to leave the church altogether, and they're not necessarily leaving faith, but they are leaving organized ministry. I'm going to tell you, I struggle with getting my son to come to church. Young people watch all this and they say, I don't want this kind of structure, and they distance themselves completely. I want you all to consider some stats, because I did some research and I looked at some stats according to the Pew Research Center, and this is specifically among African Americans, okay? Roughly 21% of African Americans say they are religiously unaffiliated What does that mean? That means that they are either atheist, which means they don't believe in God. They are either agnostic, which means that they believe that there is a higher power, not necessarily the one and only true living God. Or they don't believe in anything in particular at all. And you can go to Pew Research Center and pull those statistics. That's where I got that statistic from. But in that percentage group, only 1% identify specifically as atheist or agnostic among Black Americans, African Americans. And I still use the term African American simply because that is the term that was coined to us by Jesse Jackson in the 80s. We've gone through a slew of names since then. We're back to Black. Soon we'll be back to colored. Soon we'll be back to Negro. It's going back, y'all. All right. What this tells me, let me tell you what this tells me. This tells me that the proportion of Black people who disconnect from organizational religion is growing. You have to understand that, especially the younger generations. The gap is growing. And as the involvement drops, the opportunity, I want the pastors and the leaders and the people who go to church and clap their hands and speak in tongues and harabashanda all the time. And then internally there is fighting. I want you to hear me speak this. As church involvement drops, healing and restoration throughout the community start to shrink. As the involvement drops, the opportunity for healing and restoration through community shrinks. That is what is happening in the United States, in the Black church. There are people that are being left behind because the leaders have betrayed them. And you ask, and we ask, and they ask, can I even trust the system? Can I trust the leadership? Should I stay? Should I go? And the answer is painful. Why? Because sometimes staying means that you're dealing with unresolved hurt. And a lot of leaders do not want to talk with you about the hurt that they may have caused intentionally, unintentionally, or inadvertently. Going means loss of community and identity. I experienced that, and I was left feeling homeless. I understand what is happening at New Life Church of Orlando, because this isn't the first time that I've been through it. It is not the first time that a lot of the members or some of the remaining members, there are some newer members that came on after New Life was no longer Orlando Institutional, no longer Malone Memorial. And when all of the fiasco happened, there were things that happened. I, in the midst of even that, experienced it firsthand as well. So a practical question that someone who is going through this and is seeing the failure of leadership is going to ask themselves is this. This is a question. They're going to ask themselves, because I ask myself this question: am I worshiping God or am I protecting myself? That's painful, ladies and gentlemen. That is painful, people of God. In other countries, they may have some similar challenges, but because we have so much here in this country, we don't go through we don't have any longer the all I have is God mentality. So when leadership fails, sometimes, most of the time, but not all the time, the congregation, which is what we are at New Life Church of Orlando, we shifted into survival mode instead of worship mode. And I noticed that Pastor Derek Hutchins, Junior is trying to shift us back into worship mode. But we're fighting because we don't know what to expect. And we're looking at, we've been horribly betrayed. We've been horribly betrayed by the brother of our leader. Pastor Derek Hutchins Jr. has been horribly betrayed by blood relative. And that's why we ask ourselves, are we worshiping God or are we protecting ourselves? So anytime, and I want the people of God to hear me when I say this, anytime someone is hurt in the church by a member or something that is going on, then it affects them totally. And it's not just you, the person that hurt them, but it's the entire system. Because leadership fails. And in those moments, someone should be able to take accountability. And did I say something? Because things can be misinterpreted. We can just push back and say, we don't get the opportunity, the chance, or even reach out. Increase. We're not doing it. Trust. Is there any noise or everything? No, it kind of like just fully stopped. I have no idea what just happened here. So anyway, all right, it went back. So yeah, something was going on with it. All right, so let me break down. I want to break down some behaviors, right? Some characters, I should say. This is like the important part. Let's break down some characters. I'm going to break down the psychology of them who are silent. So we're going to call it silence. I'm going to break down the psychology of bystanders and challengers. I want to explore these characters and these personalities and who plays what role when leadership goes off course. Because these are the 5 roles that I want you to recognize. The first one is the loyalist. All right. Who is that? The loyalist is the person that defends the leader when things don't add up. And they have a motivation. Their motivation is fear of losing community and fear of losing identity. That's the true loyalist. I know some people like that. Met them this 2 years, 3 years ago. There's also the silent watcher. Let me break down that personality. The silent watcher, they see what is happening, but they stay quiet. And their motivation is, I'm just avoiding the conflict. I'm just protecting myself. I'm protecting my peace. And I get that. I get to protect my peace. I get I get the conflict avoidance. I get that. I mean, how can you not, right? Then there's the person who I call the justifier. And this person, they rationalize the leadership's actions. They know that he or she knows better, and they say it's God's timing, but their motivation is like a cognitive dissonance. And if you don't understand what cognitive dissonance is, it is that they have completely disassociated themselves with what is happening. They have a misplaced faith. That's the person who justifies the wrong. They know that it's wrong. They know that the man or the woman who calls themselves the man or the woman of God, they know that this person knows better. However, the justifier, they remove themselves from the thought of it's God's time and it's God's time and it's God's time. That's what they're saying. And their faith is misplaced because they're putting their faith in the man and not their faith in God. They're not reading the scripture in accordance to how a leader should be. Then there's the person that is the challenger. I put myself squarely in that category. I'm the person that challenges. I speak up. I ask questions. I pay the price. Man, have I paid a price? And my motivation is from the dreams that I've had, the visions that I've had, the word that God spoke into my ear, that I could hear him so clearly. And it's the fact that I have always been like this all my life. I've always wanted justice. I've always wanted justice for people who I felt were the underdogs and were done wrong. I hate to see people done wrong. So I've always been that person, even as a kid. You know, I've always been the person who would want to fight for the justice of other people. I hated to see people getting bullied, and I hated to see people getting jumped on. I love for the truth to come out. So I challenge everything. I challenge it. Because if someone doesn't speak up, and if no one asks the questions, then who's going to pay the price when the person that is doing the wrong walks away with everything that the church has worked so hard to get? And then there is another person, and that person is the healer. And this is the person that tries to hold the community together. They want the church to stay together. And they're the person that tries to mediate the pain. And their motivation is they have a deep sense of empathy, which I do. But that person is restoration oriented. But often that person is restoration orientated at a personal cost. So let's talk about the loyalist and the silent watcher. I just want to talk about those two together. Why do they stay quiet? That is the question. Why does the person that is the loyalist and the person that is the silent watcher, why do they stay quiet? Because the system often rewards loyalty and it punishes disruption. Be careful what you say. Don't say nothing. Shh, be quiet. You're going to rock the boat. And I'm like, who am I? Harriet Tubman? Don't be whispering to me. Speak up so I can hear you. I don't have to be quiet. Rocking the boat is necessary in several situations. And this is a culture of fear for the loyalist and the silent watcher. They operate in fear because the system, they know that the system is going to reward people who are loyal. Look at what's happening in the administration right now. People are quiet. They know what's wrong and they're being careful about what they say. They don't want to rock the boat. And that type of thing, that spirit is trickling down even into the church where it has been for quite some time, but now it's on full display. And the people that are sitting in the pews are saying to themselves, well, say something, I might lose my seat, I might lose my the challenger step up and say something. So let me tell you that say we're not team players. I want to tell you that these people team say anything about what was happening should unfold. Trust me, myself, Minister Carter, Lady Drina, there were so many of us who went to Dennis Hutchins. We asked questions. We tried to harmonize. We tried so desperately and so hard to work together to try to figure this thing out. And the more we talked, the more we were silenced, because as we spoke, we were beginning to uncover the truth of what was actually happening. I want you to ask yourself, in your ministry, in the church or ministry that you attend, which role are you playing? And the bigger question that I want you to ask yourself is this: if I were the leader, would I want to be challenged? Or would I punish those who challenge me? Am I going to check myself to make sure that I am doing what I am supposed to do as it relates to what God has called me to do? Because he said that he would give the people, he told his people, he said, I'll give you shepherds after my own heart, right? So when leadership fails, you'll often see more of the first three roles, right? And fewer of the last two that I mentioned. Challengers either leave or they get marginalized. I'm not concerned about being marginalized because I've been in this seat before. I'm not leaving because the Lord God spoke to me and said to me, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that has definitely not panned out the way that I thought it was. It is totally different than what I thought it was. I am so uncomfortable in the position that I am in right now. So uncomfortable in this space. But the Lord told me to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's what I'm doing. I'm going to ask that bigger question again. If I were the leader, would I want to be challenged? That's the question that I want you to ask yourself. And the second part to that question is, or will you punish the people who challenge you? Are you going to have a conversation about it? Now, I'm not speaking of being rude and nasty and mean and confrontational and loud. No, let's sit down and have a meeting and let's talk. Sometimes things get heated, but with the people of God, you have to find a resolve. All right, so when leadership fails, again, you're going to more see the first three roles, which we mentioned, right? Fewer of the last two, which I'm going to talk about, okay? Healers burn out, and there's a spiritual cost because there are people who are healers. Listen to this: a culture where silence becomes the norm and the voice of the wounded is muted. That's the spiritual cost. And that's heavy. When a person stops believing that their voices matter, you've lost more than the building, you've lost the community. You haven't just lost the building, you've lost the people. When they stop believing that their voices matter, you've lost more than the building, you've lost the community. And you're in there speaking to yourself and yourself only. So we have to move beyond diagnosing personality types. We have to get to a place where we are restoring the space where health, transparency, accountability exists. And that's going to be what I talk about next, because I want the people to understand. People of God, I want you to understand what healing looks like. You have to understand what healing looks like. I want to mention some of these solutions because awareness without action is complicit. When you are aware and you do nothing, what can we do? That's another question. All right. And this is something that we found out in trial under Judge Jordan. He said this to us. He says, what you have to do is you have to redesign governance. The congregation needs clear bylaws. And I have to say, they are extremely clear. Our bylaws are clear, 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 clear. But what he said to us was we need clear bylaws. We need to fully explain that to the people. If there are any trust clauses, which we don't have, but if you put a trust clause in your bylaws, I want to offer to you preachers, pastors, leaders of churches, those trust clauses have to be completely transparent. There has to be real-time reporting of finances. In this shift of the spirit, if you are not understanding that, then you are out of touch. Out of touch. Don't mess it up for the people of God. Don't strike the rock. Speak to rock. Speak to rock. It has to be a worship culture from me to we. From how big I am to seeing how many did we actually help. When people feel served, they're going to stay. When they feel served, they stay. And we have to empower the people that challenge us, right? We have to give space for questions. Leaders, pastors, elders, ministers. We have to be able to give space for questions. We have to ensure that there's no retaliation. That is good for healthy critique. This is not rebellion, it's responsibility. And then we have to heal those that are wounded, right? We have to acknowledge that people are hurt. We have to be able, the churches should be a safe place, right? We don't just hope they'll come back. We want them to come back. We want to invite them back. We want them to listen. That's the path and the trajectory that we need to be on, New Life Church of Orlando. And then we can start rebuilding trust, right? Over time, with small wins, with transparency, with consistent behavior. For those of you who are listening, right? If you've been hurt by ministry leadership, you're not alone. It is not a new concept. But I want to say something to you, and I hope that you hear me. Don't let the bad behavior of some leaders make you abandon the God you served. Don't let the bad behavior of some leaders make you abandon or desert the God that you served. You have to hold on to faith. You have to glean what's good, and you have to release what's toxic, and you have to seek community of believers. And for you leaders who are listening, God didn't call you to build an empire. God did not call you leaders to build an empire. He called you to build a people. Remember that. Every gift, every building, every platform is a trust. We have to steward these things well. I just want to give you, before I close, a statistical sidebar. Again, 21% of African Americans in the United States, 21% of adults, that's 18 and over, identify as religiously unaffiliated. Again, they are either agnostic, atheist, or nothing in particular. And you can find this information at pewresearch.com. Only about 1% of African American adults explicitly identify as atheists. And among Blacks, now here's a kicker. Here's a kicker. This is very, 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 very important. And it's showing you the disparity that we are faced with. Among African Americans, of the people who do not go to church or are nothing in particular or are agnostic, 81% seldom or never attend religious services. The desire for active church involvement amongst Black adults has dropped. It was 90% in 96. Today, in 1996, it was 90%. It dropped. There was 90% of church involvement. Since 1996 up to today, it's dropped to 74%. And for the younger generations that share the identifying, non-Catholic, what we call Protestant belief, for younger generations that identify as Protestant in the African American community, that continues to drop dramatically, especially we're talking about Generation Z, not millennials, not X, not Y. We're talking about those under. So we're talking about Gen Z and beneath. There's 27%. That indicates that there is a shifting religious landscape. And people don't want to go to church. They don't want to be a part of the foolery that they see in the church, which oftentimes they correlate to what's going on in the street. And we're supposed to be the ones where they go to. Just a couple of weeks ago, when the sheriff was called, the sheriff said to me, one of the young men, he said to me, "Are you guys telling me that you all go to church in this church and this is what y'all do?" I said to him, "Young brother, we don't call you all. We don't call you all to resolve issues that are going on in the church." He also said to me, "I just started this." And he says, "We get more calls." He said, "We looked at the history. You guys have more calls than anything that's going on in Pine Hills. And in Pine Hills, the residency is 180,000 people. That's very telling. And it further exacerbates how people who don't go to church view church people. How is this going on and y'all supposed to be church? I said, I have to go all the way back to tell you how it started, and I don't have the time. Sad, but true. Listen, thank you so much, guys, for joining this edition of Conversation Kings. Conversation Kings, right? If this episode challenged you, if it bothers you, if it moved you, frankly, I'm glad. Because the kingdom doesn't move in comfort alone. The kingdom of God moves in truth. Very, very telling, Desiree. Very telling. It moves in truth. Please like, please share, subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the Facebook channel. I want you to leave your thoughts in the comments. I want you to drop me a message. I want to keep this conversation alive because it is so very much needed. I want you to follow me, Elder Marcus B. Sconyers, across all the platforms, on my YouTube at Conversation Kings, on my Facebook, on my IG. Engage us with your questions and your stories. You might be featured in the next episode. I want to speak to people who have these challenges. We'll say, hey, Elder Marcus, I'll come on and I'll talk about what's going on with me, what's going on in my church, what's happening. How do we get past it? I want you to remember this. Truth isn't rebellion when it sets you free, because the Bible says, ye shall know the truth and the truth shall make you free. Until next time, Conversation Kingites, stay strong, stay wise. Most of all, stay kingdom minded. God bless you. Peace out.
Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up, it's conversation. Kings, the nation. Nation, get up. Real talk, no imitation. Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up, it's conversation. Kings, the nation. Nation, get up. Real talk, no imitation. Let's have a conversation. Right now, not later. Truth over rumors, love over haters. We sitting on the throne, royal in the scene. Crowns on our mics, we the conversation kings. Faith in the flow, and purpose in the plan. Bridging every gap from the streets to the stand. We speaking to the hearts, reaching for the dreams. Ain't no middle ground, we standing with the team. Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up, it's conversation. Kings, the nation. Nation, get up. Real talk, no imitation. Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up, it's conversation. Kings, the nation. Get up. Real talk, no imitation. Talk faith, talk life, talk unity and vision. Talk pain, talk change, talk real decisions. From the block to the boardroom, same mission. Every word heavy, call it verbal nutrition. Kings don't gossip, now we building foundation. Sowing true seeds across generations. Lifting up voices, the time try to mute. We bringing back purpose and replanting roots. Hands up if you ready for the shift. Mindset elevated is the gift. No cap, just facts, we don't play pretend. We talking truth from beginning to end. Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up's conversation. Kings, the nation. Nation, get up. Real talk, no imitation. Get up, yeah, let's have a conversation. Get up's conversation. Kings, the nation. Get up. Real talk, no imitation.
So when the mic's on, the truth rings. This is Real Talk from Conversation Kings. Faith, life, and everything between. Let's get up and have a conversation.